The investigation into former President Donald Trump taking documents from the White House following his ouster in 2020 continues to produce some new and interesting tidbits of information, some little tiddly bits, including how Trump had floated the possibility of using the documents that he had stolen that did not belong to him as a form of ransom for other documents. I'm not kidding. This is a kind of insane plan that only someone like Donald Trump would come up with. So let me give you the details. According to Insider, former President Donald Trump late last year had floated the idea to aides of swapping the files that he took from the White House to Mar-a-Lago in exchange for sensitive documents about the FBI investigation of his 2016 campaign's ties to Russia, according to the New York Times. So now, the National Archives had been politely asking for Trump to return documents that didn't belong to him. If you and I had done so, the FBI would have not asked nicely. Nobody would have asked nicely. We would have been immediately arrested and charged with the Espionage Act. And so, no, but Donald Trump, he was a former president. So, of course, they had to beg him, plead with him. Donald, please, just return the documents. We'll let everything go. Just give us back the stuff. Please, we're going to give you the 14th chance to return the documents. No, these documents, they're mine. They're my documents. I'm going to keep all of them. Why would you want to keep all of them? Well, it turns out we have a reason. So, look, Trump was pretty angry that the National Archives wouldn't give him the Russia probe documents. And so, look, we can learn from that, and through, I guess, any of his Truth Social or Truth Central, any of his posts there on social media, whatever social media has left, that he's incredibly salty about the Russia probe. Still, I mean, you know, this is the we're talking Egyptian natron salty, okay? The levels of salt that we've never even heard of before, that we've never seen. It is salty from the standpoint of salt. Anyway, the Times claims that he felt these documents would back up his dubious claims of, like, no collusion, no obstruction. Well, there's definitely obstruction. The thing is, Mueller, in his report, punted to the DOJ. The DOJ, of course, obviously did nothing with it because they were Donald Trump's DOJ. And so, look, when I think about that, it's like, okay, Donald Trump gets off scot-free. You should be happy about this, right? No, he's still mad about it. And I can't understand why. But again, we're dealing with Donald Trump here, who is the consummate snowflake. So, look, it's funny, too, because there's been so many different scandals involving Donald Trump. I think a lot of us have forgotten about some of the earlier ones. But apparently he has not, and he wanted to trade. Trump told advisors that in order to obtain access to the documents, he would give the archives the boxes of materials that were stored at Mar-a-Lago, according to the newspaper. Of course, not only does that, show that he knew that he wasn't supposed to have the documents, because they didn't belong to him, but also knew of their importance. Or maybe he didn't know of the importance if he was willing to trade some of this very top secret intelligence for the Russia stuff, right? So, yeah, maybe he knew they had a lot of value, or maybe they didn't. I don't know. But of course, aides to the former president decided to not go through with his harebrained idea because, honestly, that's kind of how it worked. Donald Trump would come up with a stupid idea. His aides would say, oh, yeah, sure. And then he'd forget about it later. Or they'd ask him about it. Oh, yeah, sir, yep, we're working on it, sir. Absolutely. We're working hard. Well, we're going to get that done. And then he'll just forget about it in like a couple of weeks. But, look, here's the thing. Doing this would have been obstruction. Almost certainly. And I don't even know what crimes associated with trying to hold these documents at ransom. But when it comes to Trump, obviously, laws don't matter to him at all, at least when it comes to himself and having to follow these laws. But there's other issues, right? other issues of how he treated these documents when they were in his custody, which, by the way, the federal officials still think that there might be some of these documents in his custody that even had made photocopies. But one of the things they had an issue with about storing these documents is his tendency to bring them into the bedroom. So I guess he brings these documents into the bedroom, with his Diet Coke and his hamburger, or, whatever, chicken nuggies. Okay. And he would, I guess, leave it in there. And sure, you could make an argument that, hey, look, a president, sometimes they do that. Sometimes they take their work into their private residence. They want to put in some extra hours and maybe not be at the office, right? Well, here's the issue, right? With Trump, he loses these things. He either loses them or intentionally gets rid of them, by maybe ripping them up and flushing them down the personal toilet.
People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times.
And look, during Trump's third year in office, top White House officials were aware of specific files being left in places where they were not supposed to be, were not intended to be stored. So now what's interesting about that is, let's kind of compare this to Hillary Clinton's server, because I know there's always the whataboutism, right? Now, the FBI investigation did find that Clinton and her staff were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information. Now, that investigation, of course, was headed up by former FBI Director James Comey, which wasn't exactly a friend of the Clintons, wasn't exactly a friend of, turned out to be a friend of Donald Trump either. So now Trump gets into office, he's like, hold my beer, hold my Diet Coke, actually. And then does a lot worse than what Hillary Clinton was purported to do. Which, by the way, I have said that she was incredibly irresponsible with the way that she handled classified information. And then, of course, did lie about it later, saying, oh, I don't have any classified information in my email server. No, they found tons of documents. Thousands of documents that did have that classification. But still, okay. He took the documents home to Mar-a-Lago in paper form and then put them in a storage room, maybe with a single lock, but we don't really know. But then he also puts it in his office and then leaves them in several other places. It's a mess. So now what earned Hillary Clinton, and this is why it's important to bring this up, the lock her up chant. What earned her that was bad, yes, but it's nowhere near Donald Trump. And yet MAGA, when they hear this, they give a collective shrug. They do not care. They don't give a damn about what Donald Trump did. Either it's fake news or somehow Trump magically declassified it with his brainwaves just by thinking about it. He's the new Professor X over here. Professor X-Lax, more like. It just doesn't matter to Republicans, to right-wingers, because we don't care what Donald Trump did. And by the way, hey, look over there. A trans girl might actually be able to play sports in high school. Get her. At the end of the day, you have to understand that when it comes to Donald Trump, when it comes to the right wing, hypocrisy doesn't matter. It's all about owning the libs. And so if you have to undertake massive hypocrisy to do that, that's what they're going to do. It's all that matters.